the main agent, I think, today that's really deceiving people and putting them in a trance, like a zombie-like trance, and it's played everywhere you go, is rock music. Everyone has it on, everyone listens to it, some form or another. And people don't really realize the true significance of this music, and really who is the one who's not only promoted this, but even these musicians, who's using them and speaking through them.
You have underlying influences then in this rock music.
Exactly. What we have is, and people have proven, from the 50s to the 90s, going back to Elvis in the 60s, the Beach Boys, the Rolling Stones in the 70s with Led Zeppelin, in the 80s with Michael Jackson, now Madonna, all these people, if you really look, and maybe we have a separate video just on this, they all say in their own words that they're possessed by demons, spirits, they get their music by spirits, and so forth. What we're going to look at right now is some of the music that, if you play it backwards, reverse the music, you get these satanic messages. And what most people don't realize, they think, well, they did that somehow. It's impossible. It's impossible to play a song forwards and then play it backwards and get a message.
Master is a tape about as big as the top of this podium that looks like an overgrown 8-track that the album is cut on and is placed in a machine that produces and presses the records and the 8-tracks and cassettes that you buy. After it's been recorded, it's taken in. This is why a master is cut months in advance before it's released. On the full moon, it's taken in to a temple room about the size of this auditorium that is in every one of the major music companies, behind locked doors up in the executive offices. And it's placed on an altar, sitting in the north of the room, and a pentagram engraved in the floor. And 13 hand-chosen witches and wizards and a coven come in and conjure a principality or a power up, usually Regia or something like that, and order him to tell the demons under him to follow every record and every tape coming off of that master. As I tell many Christian parents, you can go home and count your kids' records, probably yours too, and count how many demons at least are there. And rock music is not just a song. It is supernatural music that which is carefully designed by their spirit guides or familiar spirits in the form of spells. Much of the songs are written in what we call witch language. To give you kind of an idea, many of you talk on a CB, unless you know what a smoky is, and a 10-4, and a front door and back door and rocking chair and these type of things, you don't know what you're talking about. Same with witches. When you're in the first and second level, you have to learn over 2,000 words that said by anybody else mean something totally different than when you say them. Elton John has said he's never written a song or sung a song that wasn't in which language.
Listen carefully. What forward is talking about the two paths you can take. Okay? Yes, there are two paths you can go by. Backwards, they lift up, the demons lift up, because this isn't Led Zeppelin, this is spiritism, and spirits working through Robert Plant. Backwards, they lift up the backwards path, the satanic path. It says backwards, here's to my sweet Satan, I want to live it backwards. Like the Zepp, referring to Led Zeppelin. Robert Plant referred to Led Zeppelin as the Zepp over and over again in interviews, and that's how they've been referred to for years. So backwards it says, here's to my sweet Satan, I want to live it backwards like the Zepp, whose power is Satan, he will give you 666. Listen carefully. Backwards it says, here's to my sweet Satan. Did you hear that? Listen carefully. It says, I want to live it backwards, like the Zepp, whose power is Satan. Did you hear that? Then it says, he will give you 666. Not much into my albums anymore, so... He will give you 666. Big deal. The mark of the beast will come out. People will take it on their right hand or their forehead, and then all of a sudden they'll get grievous sores on their right hand, and they'll say, hey, what's going on? It's not working. There's some kind of reaction to this mark. And then before you know it, according to Revelation 14, everybody that takes the mark of the beast will be damned in fire and brimstone, it says, forever. And the smoke of their torment rises up forever and ever. Big deal.
But what's interesting about Led Zeppelin, in fact, they dominated the 1970s, and they're still popular today. In fact, they outsold groups like the Rolling Stones 3-1. It's interesting, and their lead singer, Robert Plant, the head of their group, is a big follower of Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley was a Satanist, a man who called himself the Beast, 666. And Robert Plant has fanatical devotion to him. In fact, he bought Aleister Crowley's home in England. And many of these rock performers follow this Aleister Crowley. And they have it on the back of their albums and their songs. They talk about Aleister Crowley. But probably the biggest devotion of any rock singer is Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin. The song is by the group Queen. It's called Another One Bites the Dust. It's one of the most popular songs in all of music history, and they keep on repeating Another One Bites the Dust over and over again. And when you repeat Another One Bites the Dust, you get this: start to smoke marijuana. This should obviously make people believe in the devil, and believe, obviously, that these singers are being used as instruments of the devil, that the spirits are working right through them, and they should not, obviously, listen to rock music after seeing something as clear as this, that they're devils speaking right through these guys. And people have to realize that we're in a spiritual battle, as St. Paul says in Ephesians 6:13, that you fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and wickedness in high places. So that's what people have to realize.
This is Madonna,
the material girl.
The material girl, and you know, because she was such a whore, and then represents the Madonna, right? You know, she is.
Oh, I see what you mean. She's the mother
epitome of the whore of Babylon.
Yet it's a mocking of Mary.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, and her videos express that.
Yes, I mean, we've got war, hell on wheels.
There's always, it seems, something about to blow up around Madonna, which brings us to the latest controversy. Is the young woman who once so publicly rejected the Catholic faith of her childhood now Jewish? You attend Jewish services now.
Well, that's what some people think. I don't attend Jewish services.
Straighten us out.
Well, I hear the Torah, but I'm not Jewish, and nor have I converted to Judaism. I think I'm connecting to something that predates religion.
Look at the Kabbalah. It's a system of sorcery, witchcraft, and magic. And there are a number of Jews who are opposed to the Kabbalah. We need to know that first of all.
Right.
And yet there are even Orthodox Jewish rabbis, the Lubavitchers and others, who have embraced Kabbalah. But Kabbalah comes really, literally, all the way back from Babylon.
Yes.
And it was Babylonian magic of the worst kind. And it polluted the Jewish religion and faith. But today, there's not only the Talmud, which is the holy book of the Jews, but there is the Kabbalah. Now, there are many volumes. The Zohar is probably the most prominent. But what I want people to know, it is a combination of many occult disciplines, numerology, astrology, literally making the Hebrew alphabet into idols. And colors. There's even colors that make it. If you notice, she was wearing red. Mm-hmm. That's the primary color of the Kabbalah and also of the Whore of Babylon, according to the book of Revelation, the Bible, Revelation 17. And many Jewish rabbis have admitted this, and they say that in all of the rituals of Freemasonry, you will find the Kabbalah, the system of magic of the Jews. For example, the 30th degree of Freemasonry is the Knights of Kadosh.
Yes.
And it involves skulls and black robes and a knight laying in a coffin speaking from the dead.
Yes.
And all of this turning to the god of the underworld, the gods of the underworld, is all related to Jewish Kabbalah because they believe in necromancy, yes, communication with the dead. And they also believe that it is their goal as gods, once you become Kabbalistic master, and they believe that in the last days, a Kabbalistic master will come upon the earth, and there will be a Jewish utopia a new world order of the Jews, and all Gentiles who convert at least to Kabbalah. Now, they don't have to convert to Judaism.
Right, as Madonna was saying.
But they must go along with what are called the Noahide laws and be good Gentiles and go along with Kabbalah. And if they recognize that the Holy Spirit is the serpent, the great universal serpent, they actually believe the one swallowing his tail, the Ouroboros serpent, is the Holy Spirit. And by the way, that's also taught in the 32nd degree of Freemasonry, that is, the serpent is the Holy Spirit. And he is going to encircle the earth with his doctrine and bring forth this great Kabbalistic master. We would call him the Antichrist in Christianity, to be honest.